T-boned, we run into the pole. We did not think we were going to get into an accident. Hey humans, it's Joycelyn. Welcome back to my channel. It's literally been forever since I've had a chance to talk to you. I didn't post in over a year. Obviously, I only got 300 subscribers, so who really cares? However, the reason why I was gone is because life happened, right? So much change happened in 2021 for me. Like, I'm now able to talk about it, so let's get right into it. So this story time is when I got into a car accident with one of my good friends. You know, funny enough, I was actually filming a YouTube video that day in preparation for Ghana independence with another friend of mine. It was going to be like a Ghana versus Nigeria video. And who would have known, a few hours later, I would have gotten into a car accident. So basically, what happened was, that day I actually got a text in the group chat from one of our friends. We're going to call these friends, we're going to keep it all movie related, Disney movie. One is going to be called Yasmin, one is going to be called Aladdin. Yasmin was working that day, and I was filming a video with one of my friends, and I was doing like errands and stuff, and Aladdin was like, hey, let's hang out, like we'll kidnap Yasmin and hang out at my house, which is very new because we don't go to Aladdin's house to hang out. We always hang out at Yasmin's house. So I'm like, perfect, who wants to go to Yasmin's house anyway? Like, let's go to your house. Aladdin was like, you know, when it comes time for Yasmin to get off work, I'm gonna pick her up and we'll meet up at my house. And Aladdin said that they wanted to go to Chick-fil-A to get food, and I was like, all right, cool. You know, Chick-fil-A has sent out like these free rewards, and Aladdin got one. So I went and checked my app, and I got a free reward as well. Filmed the video and everything, time is passing, and the reason why I didn't go pick up Yasmin, or I didn't offer to pick up Yasmin initially, was because I didn't know what time I would be done filming. Because not only was I filming a video for my channel, I was filming a video for my friends. So it comes time for Jasmine to get off work. Aladdin is nowhere to be found because Aladdin got caught up in some stuff. So I'm like, Yasmin is right beside me. I'll go pick Yasmin up. We'll go get Yasmin food, and then we'll meet up and go to Chick-fil-A together. Yasmin, like normal, it's very regular, schmegular. When I tell you, nothing was out of the norm for this day. We go to KFC, and Aladdin pulls up at the KFC, and we're like, oh, hey, Aladdin, like, let's drive to Chick-fil-A. While we're in the KFC line, prior to Aladdin coming, Yasmin was like, Joycelyn, get real food. You like to snack. You like to snack. And I'm like, you're right. I want to snack. For some reason, that day I did not want Chick-fil-A. I don't know why. I just didn't want to eat a real meal. I wanted to snack, you know, do my little yogurt with my nuts and my crackers and my honey buns. You know, me, I'm a grazer.
I'm a cow, bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't.
I was like, get real food. And I'm thinking, free Chick-fil-A sandwich. We're already driving there. Why not get it, right? Let me tell you something. Listen to your gut feeling, okay? I love Yasmin. Yasmin is a smart bitch, but Yasmin was wrong that day. So we drive to Chick-fil-A, and basically we're in two separate cars. Me and Yasmin are in one car, and I'm driving, and Aladdin is in another. So we're driving together down the same road that we drive on all the time to go to Chick-fil-A. We're at Chick-fil-A, and one thing to note is that I got in line at Chick-fil-A before Aladdin. So our food was obviously going to come out faster for me than Aladdin, so we would leave earlier. We get our food, you know, I got me my little spicy deluxe chicken sandwich. Did I get fries that day? I think, yeah, I did get fries. I got fries, I got me some water, you know, giving healthy. And we drive off. And Aladdin is a few cars behind us in the drive-thru, so Aladdin will eventually drive off later. We're driving, and Yasmin is eating her KFC. I remember this distinctly because I wasn't eating, and I believe at the time there was not even music in the car. We weren't listening to nothing. It was very normal, very calm, very quiet. We're driving down this wrong road, and the speed limit for this road is about 45 miles per hour. When I tell you, I've driven on this road thousands of times to go to work, to go to school, to go visit family. Like, I've driven on this road a million times. And the funny thing is, you think you can always die when you travel and you're abroad and you're somewhere else in a foreign place. No, I could have died in my backyard. I could have died 5 minutes from my house. My friend could drive down that road and see me R.I.P. Joycelyn signs, you know? So anyway, we're approaching this one particular intersection. So this intersection, basically how the road is set up, there are 2 lanes on both sides, and there's like a middle area that has grass, and then those 2 lanes, as it approaches the light, then turn into 4 lanes for the turning areas. And I'll show you a visual demonstration of what it looks like. So that happens on both sides, and it's a 4-way intersection. And we were going straight, so I'm approaching the light, and basically I see a red car trying to yield to turn, right? And I have the right of way because I'm going straight. So I'm approaching the light, and I beep at the red car to indicate, like, hey, like, don't try to make this turn, because, you know, sometimes people like to cut you off and make a turn real quick. So I beep at the red car. And I'm literally saying to my friend in the car, Uncle, don't go. Obviously, Uncle can't hear me, but that's just what I do in the car when I drive. I call people auntie and uncle, and it happened so fast. And I think Yasmin and I can both say that, like, we did not think we were going to get into an accident. The red car tries to turn as I'm going through the intersection, and it happened so fast. I get hit on the driver's side, and then we run into a pole, and we hit the pole. And when I tell you, the sound of that pole, hitting the pole was so, like, the screeching of the metal of the car hitting the pole, that you can never unhear that. Like, that was probably the worst part, and the impact of hitting the pole was the worst.
It was worse than being hit on the
I
other
agree.
side.
So Yasmin's basically saying that, like, hitting the pole was even more intense. They hit us, it's basically like a T-bone. They hit us on our side, and thank God I swerved, because where he hit us was more towards, like, the driver's side wheel area as opposed to, like, the driver's side door. And it honestly just felt so fast, like, but it felt slow at the same time. You get into a car accident, for some reason, my horn didn't go off. Like, it just kept making a loud, blaring noise. My face hits the airbag. Yasmin's airbag does not even open. And I can't see her because, you know, when the airbag inflates, you can't see anybody. Like, the car, it was nighttime, by the way, so, like, visibility was very limited. So my head is on the airbag, and literally you can see in the images my face makeup is implanted on the airbag because that's where my face hit it. The first thought I had was, you think you have time. I don't know why that thought ran in my head, but the first thought I had was, you think you have time. And then I'm thinking, am I dead? But then I'm like, I'm conscious. If I'm dead, I'm sure it would be quicker than this. It wouldn't be this slow. I would say maybe 10 seconds in, and it felt like the longest 10 seconds of my life, the adrenaline finally kicks in. And when I tell you, the adrenaline had my ass jumping, and I was jumping. I literally grabbed the car door. I'm yanking the car door open because, remember, we were hit on my driver's side door, so it was difficult to open the car door. So I'm yanking the car door open, and I get out the car and I run into the middle of the street. Why would I do that? It's literally a two-lane road where people are going 45 miles per hour. I literally could have been hit by a car, but fortunately, there was no cars on the road. And then I see the red car and all the damage, and the driver is just standing there, like, confused. And then I'm thinking, my friend, like, Yasmin, like, what the hell? So I literally scream, fuck. And I'm like, I don't know, something just overcame me. And then I start screaming, Yasmin! Yes! I don't know what African movie I was watching. What Nollywood versus Gollywood video I was watching. But I was screaming, Yasmin! Yeah. And honestly, I'm laughing about it, but to be honest, in the moment, it was terrifying. Because Yasmin has underlying conditions. So I'm scared I didn't kill Yasmin. Another thing I forgot to mention is that prior to this, I had lost a loved one in a car accident. Same car, same type, different color. And I saw the helicopter footage of it, and it was traumatic to look at. And ever since then, I was having nightmares of dying in a car accident or getting into a car accident where I'm driving and somebody else dies on my hands. So I thought I was living my own nightmare, honestly. And I think that's what sent me into that Yasmin state. So I'm screaming Yasmin, and then I run over to her side, and Yasmin's face is on the dashboard. And I noticed that Yasmin's airbag did not open. So Yasmin is laying there, and I'm telling her to get out the car. Yasmin is sitting there confused and befuddled. I don't even know. This bitch was not here. She lifts her face, and I noticed that her nose is, like, bloody. And you know, when you see not only her nose, but her lip was bloody. So, like, her face was bloody. The food was in her hair. Like, it was very disheveled. Like, she was very disheveled in that moment. And Yasmin was like, I don't know if Yasmin said what happened, but Yasmin was very confused. And fortunately, there was a car who had gone in the intersection the same time I had went. And his car, so when we were going, his car was slightly ahead of mine, and mine was right here where the guy T-boned us, right? And he pulled over when he noticed we got into an accident. He came out saying, like, are you guys okay? And mindful, we got into an accident with another driver. That man was standing there. He didn't ask if we were okay. He didn't care. I don't know if he was in a state of shock himself, but I thought it was very interesting that he did not give a damn about the people he hit. So the driver is like, are you okay? He goes to the back of his car, gets a rag to give Yasmin for her thing. And I'm like, Yasmin, we need to call the police. So Yasmin pulls out her phone and calls her nigga. And I'm sitting here like, bitch, why are you calling him right now? He answers the phone too. And I'm like, she's like, hello, we got into an accident. And I'm like, bitch, give me the phone. I'm like, hey, we'll call you back, bye. I hang up, I call 911, and I'm like, hi, can we get an ambulance? Like, my friend is bleeding, we just got into a car accident, we're at so-and-so intersection. There's a firehouse right near us, can you call their ambulance? Because they were closest. And he's asking me questions, and I remember answering some of the questions, but at some point he was asking me so many questions, I'm like, nigga, this is not relevant to this conversation. Like, you asked me too many questions, I don't know the answer to that. Get my friend an ambulance. The ambulance is 30 seconds away. I think I ended up catching an attitude with him. I'm like, can you just send the ambulance, please? And he kind of like, I don't know, I guess he was offended, but I'm like, what are they? You're an emergency services person. Like, you hear crazy calls all the time. You should be able to remain calm and like, you know, I don't know. It just felt like his vibes were not giving the vibes that were supposed to be gave. Then I realized Aladdin was behind us. Remember, Aladdin had left the Chick-fil-A, you know, after us. I call Aladdin. I'm like, we just got into a car. He's like, yo, that's you? I'm like, yeah, that's us up there. So the ambulance comes, and when I tell you it happened so fast, the ambulance comes and the police arrive and they start talking to us. I speak to a police officer, a white man, you know. He comes up to me, he's like, so what happened? And I tell him what happened. I said, you know, I was going through the light, and then he hit us and we hit the pole. And I think him hearing we were going through the light, I was trying to indicate that I was going through the intersection while it was a yellow light. But in his mind, he heard you were passing a red light, you caused the accident. That's all he heard from me. He didn't get any more statement. He took my phone number down. He got Yasmin's ID, showed my ID to him, and we get in the ambulance and we leave. Normally, if you are not super duper uber injured in a car accident, I would highly recommend that you stay, give your statement to the police, and then go to the hospital. Because you can still report that you were injured if you go to the hospital that same day, you know, relatively in the same time. But I didn't want to leave Yasmin alone, so I went. But if I had known, I would have stayed. And also, the police told me they were going to reach out to me, right? Because what happens usually is, like, pre-COVID times, when you get into a car accident, they'll take your statement at the hospital. But because of COVID, they're not letting people into the hospital unless you're like a person's +1. So he wasn't going to be able to do that. But I didn't know that at the time. I asked the paramedic, is it okay to go through a yellow light? Is it illegal to go through the yellow light? The paramedic's like, no, it's not illegal to go through a yellow light. And then Yasmin is here. And when I tell you Yasmin was so disheveled, the chicken pieces were in Yasmin's hair. Yasmin was in her mouth. The chicken pieces were on her jacket. Yasmin was bleeding on her nose, on her lip. She ended up fracturing her nose. Long story on that.
Busted my lip.
And busted her lip. And, oh, another thing I forgot to mention was that as I was talking to the police, I started to feel some burning on my chest. So I started rubbing my chest while I'm talking to the police officer. And I'm like, do you see something on my chest? I literally start showing him my mindful. I don't show my body to nobody. You know, now I'm a little bit more comfortable, but before I would never do that. So I'm rubbing my chest and I'm talking to the officer, like gave him that 1 sentence or a 2 sentence statement. And I'm like, do you see something on my chest? Do you see something on, because it started, like when I tell you it started burning mindful, the adrenaline was on me. I didn't feel any pain at this point because I'm so amped up on adrenaline. Like, I was like, when I tell you I ran into the street, like I was pumped up on adrenaline. So I started feeling the burning. Come to find out, when you go to the hospital, I'll show you images, there is a, like, it was kind of like a rug burn on my chest from my shirts. I had like this scrunchy shirt on, and it like put its print of the shirt onto my chest when I got hit by the airbag because of the impact. So we go to the hospital, they take our information, we give the statement to the EMT and all that stuff. Like, we give our stuff, and when I tell you we get into a car accident, they're gonna ask you the same story over and over and over again 10 million times because they want it for their records. I was tired. We're at the hospital, and even in the car ride or even in the ambulance ride to the hospital, Yasmin kept asking me, am I gonna need surgery? Am I gonna need surgery? Am I gonna need surgery? I'm like, Yasmin, you're gonna be fine. And it felt like Yasmin had amnesia or Yasmin was not here mentally, because the way she kept asking the same question to get the same answer over and over again was confusing me. And me and the EMT were trying to tell her, you're going to be fine. We get to the hospital. Yasmin was asking the same question. I'm trying to wipe off the blood because Yasmin was giving very much menstrual cycle, the way the blood was coming. Like, it wasn't cute. So we're at the hospital. Yasmin keeps asking me the same thing over and over again, and I'm concerned. So shout out to Aladdin. Aladdin, after the car accident, he started taking pictures for me because I didn't get any pictures. I didn't get anything. I didn't get the other driver's insurance. I didn't get any information. All things you should do when you get into a car accident. Aladdin goes to get Yasmin's partner and they go to the car accident scene. I guess there has been a change in story. Yasmin claims that she didn't ask that question a million times. I can assure you she did, and if I find photographic evidence, I will include the audio. So we're there, they're checking us in, and I start to like ask for like a wipe to clean off Yasmin because I'm like, they got this bitch in here bloodied up, looking like a whole menstrual cycle, and it's not giving. The wig is demolished. The hair has chicken pieces in it. It was giving KFC Popeyes commercial fight. That's what it was giving. So we're there, they do the intake process, and we have to wait in the waiting room. And I'm talking to Aladdin, and I'm starting to get a little bit like back into reality. The adrenaline's wearing off. I text my therapist like, hey, do you mind if I book a session for tomorrow? And I'm just sitting there with Yasmin waiting to be called back. I think they called me back first to get like an x-ray and some like testing done. They also do the same for Yasmin, and then eventually we get into 2 separate hospital rooms. And I didn't even call my family at this point. One, because I realized when I got out of the vehicle and I pushed myself out of the vehicle that I'm gonna be all right. You know, although I didn't know at the time I was probably in pain, I knew that if I'm able to run into the street, I'm probably gonna do fine. I'm more concerned for Yasmin. So I'm in my hospital room and I'm telling the story to the nurse, the LPN, the RN, the phlebotomist. Every fucking body is asking me the same story. I'm like, you know what's in the story. You know what's in the record. Like, I have to, they gave me the report, MC. Why do I have to keep telling it? And funny enough, the doctor said, yeah, we have a lot of car accidents tonight. Like, what was in the air on March 3rd that said, hey, everybody's gonna get into a car accident? But I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, if this car accident had gone any worse,
I wouldn't be here today. I'm joking.
Not even that. I feel like if the car accident had a different turnout, I'm so grateful for how it turned out, honestly. And why I'm saying grateful, not because obviously I would wish a car accident on anybody, no, that we were all able to walk away from it, you know, and cars can be replaced, but lives can't be replaced. And I was sitting there thinking, you know, if this were my last day, would it have been a good one? And I was like, you know, I was trying my best, you know. At the time I was trying to move out. At the time I just got my first teaching job. I was in pursuit of the things I wanted. I may not have manifested all of it, but I'm like, you know what, a bitch was trying. I was doing what I loved. I had filmed a YouTube video that day, so it's like, you know, we can argue whether or not it was the most productive, whether it was the most fruitful, whether it was the most best day, but it was a day where I got up and I tried my best. Oh, so I called my mom, and I'm like, hey mom, I got into an accident. And I'm like, you don't need to come to the airport. You don't need to come to the hospital. But my family like basically forced her to come to the hospital. She comes there, she sees me. They do all their examinations. I tell them the symptoms that I'm experiencing, and they discharge us. Hey humans, I wanted to show you what my car looked like after the car accident. As you can see, it's completely totaled. You can actually see the debris from the other driver's vehicle in my car. In addition, you'll also see where my friend's airbag didn't open and the dent and like exactly where the other person's car hit my car because pieces of their car are stuck in my car. And I want to talk about the effects of that car accident in another video, because when I tell you it wreaked havoc on my life 6 months after, it was the absolute ghetto, and this video will be absolutely too long if I try to talk about it here. But I did want you to see what my car looked like. Insurance did cover my vehicle. The man was liable for it. And me and my friend went to physical therapy, and that really helped, and we both recovered. But I did want to show you guys that, so stay tuned for another video of me talking about the effects of the car accident, because when I tell you, the timing was awful. The timing was absolutely awful. And now I look like I'm somebody's wife. Now I look like, where is my